Broadcasting to you live from the Orion Spiral Arm of the Milky Way Galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of China. I call it the China virus because it comes from China. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Thursday, May 14, 2026, and this right here, the thing that you are watching, it's called the TNAM Daily Show. Let's make that bigger. TNAM stands for the New American Media, because the news always matters. Here at the New American Media. Thank you so much for being here. Today, we are going to talk about President Trump and a whole bunch of shot callers, ballers, 40-inch rims on the Impala, holla, getting late tonight. My way, my way. Got to be a better way, better way, better way, yeah. Who sings that song? Question of the day, who sings that? But shot callers are in the group. Huge leaders of huge companies looking to set parameters for open trade with perhaps the largest market, one of the largest markets on earth. There's been a theory with President Trump that one of the main things he tries to do is mutually assured success. You know, nuclear is all about mutually assured destruction. Well, you're not going to do that because then we're going to do that. And then everybody's going to do that. And it's just going to be a hellscape. That's why it's so important. President Trump, I believe, released a message saying that China's agreed that Iran will not have nuclear weapons. I don't think they're putting pressure on Iran, but with Venezuela changing, Venezuela was exporting oil to China. Iran was exporting oil to China. They're feeling it. And this is a great time to negotiate some terms. You have some favors. You have some... not favors. What was I trying to say? Variables in your favor. So that's when you strike a deal when things are good. You don't negotiate from a point of weakness. Look at Iran. They got nothing to negotiate with. Just come on. Let's move it along. The world's had enough of this. So, you know, you cut a deal, you open up trade, you get some things going, and maybe Trump is able to unfreeze the global relations between Russia, America, China, America. He loves tyrants. Trump loves tyrants. Trump is working with the pieces on the board. He didn't put the pieces on the board, but he's showing you what's going on with the leaders of Europe and NATO, isn't he? 3 new bases in Greenland, still negotiating. Will something happen there? Cuba in crisis. People that regularly flee to Florida in the United States. Imagine how great Cuba would be if it wasn't so downtrodden with horrible failed policies. Wouldn't that be something? Canada, Alberta, is that going to be our 51st state? I don't know. But there's a lot unraveling. And if you kind of project what it means, I mean, China is going to have a key role to play in settling this Iranian conflict. What they do publicly and what they do privately, well, those may not be the same exact issues, but you're setting some parameters and you're mentioning how you both agree that Iran is not going to be nuclear. No mutually assured destruction with people that might be trying to push for that. People say the Christian Zionists are pushing for a global cataclysm and the return of Christ. They're the evil ones. Well, if people are pushing for a nuclear holocaust, I would say that's probably not a wise policy, and I would not agree. However, let's weigh the threats that are in front of us. You know, you got Mark Kelly coming out saying that the U.S. doesn't have the correct amount of ballistic missiles, that our supplies are low. telling the enemies that they're stronger than they are, so it puts them in a stronger negotiating position. Why would somebody do that? The deep state isn't gone and it isn't done, but it needs to be gone and it needs to be done, at least in the way that it's been operating for too many decades. Not in the favor of the American people, making sure that your shot callers. Little Tony is the dude who sings that? Thank you, David. Yes, I'm rocking the Moldavite necklace today, and I'm rocking my Cleveland Browns, Cleveland Cavaliers, Cleveland Indians mashup mascot shirt in honor of the Cavaliers. Man, they were down late against the Pistons on the road in Game 5, and they came roaring back to send it to overtime, and they ended up defeating the number 1 seed Detroit Pistons, taking a 3-2 series lead back to Cleveland. 1 win away from the Eastern Conference Championship. Let's go. You never know how things are going to go. And they traded for James Harden like 2.5 months ago. They haven't played together much. They're every playoff game they're playing there. It's the highest stakes, loudest arenas, highest energy, highest pressure. And they're learning. They're getting better together. It's pretty cool to see. Cavs have some good players. But yeah, also, I guess did I put that right back in? I didn't realize it. Yeah, this has been popping off. I caught it in my shirt yesterday. I'm like, oh man. So I put it back. I might need to set it into a new pendant, something that'll hold it a little better. And I might want something that'll wrap it and stay on there completely wrapped, because this has 3 prongs that kind of clench over and hold it. Have you had experience with this? Give me your comments, your thoughts. But yeah, it just has like 3 claws that kind of bend over and hold it, but one of them, and then the thing pops out. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know if it can be fixed. But yes, I am rocking that today, and I'm rocking a very positive attitude for the Cavaliers. We're also going to talk about CIA raiding Tulsi Gabbard's office at the Director of National Intelligence. What was this story? Why was everybody talking about it? What's the fallout? What's the truth? And who really runs the country? Speaking of ruling the country, apparently Alberta has had a judge strike down the separation of Alberta from Canada, but it's another peon judge who opposed it. Thank you, David. Yeah, I read that story too. Alberta wants to be either independent or to jump into the United States, or become independent and then jump into the United States. They're getting railroaded by the rest of that bum country, the globalist country that is as backward as a Biden administration. That's not a good role model to have. That's not a good set of operating protocols for your neighbor to the north. Neither are narco-terrorists running your neighbor to the south. So yeah, we've got some things impacting the United States. And yet, unfortunately, there's not a magic wand. You can't just snap your fingers and fix it all at once. I mean, people are trying, but we're going to get into all those topics and more on today's show. So hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button. Everybody do that. Hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button, share the show with a friend. And the TNAM Daily Show starts now.
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
Thank you all so much for being here. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with a friend. Remember, any shows that you might want to hear, or any topics that you might want to hear on the show. Let me reframe how I was going to say that. Share it to us on X. We're at American_media_. Share the content with us on X, and we try to bring that into the program from time to time. Let's say hi to chat. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. Trash Panda, Texas, in the house. Marion, good morning to you. Ortho, happy to have you as a regular. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit the notification bell on YouTube or however you're watching. Hello, Dina. Happy to have you from the state of Michigan. Went camping up in Michigan on a lake. It was really nice. Dina says, for once, the sky was clear blue. Lovely. Now wispier clouds are rolling in. Yeah. I was a concert director for my university activities organization in college. Against all odds and no budget, I was able to book the MTV Campus Invasion Tour with Moby and Bush, and we sold out 4,300 tickets in a day. It was pretty great. But prior to that, we did a team building exercise for a weekend. We drove up in a van or a couple vehicles up to Michigan, and we had a cabin, and I just remember being out on, it was like a canoe or something, and it was just kind of like coasting out there, laying back and look. I mean, you could see the curvature of the earth. You could see the dome of the firmament, whatever you want to call it. Crystal clear skies. So yeah, how you doing? Ortho's above ground and breathing. Yeah, it, beats the alternative. Beats the alternative. Yes, of course, David, we've referenced a couple of his comments so far today from up in Canada. Very happy to have you. Yeah, and everybody just share the show with a friend. Who sings that song? You sing it. I just heard you. No, Trash Panda, Texas. I mean, who wrote it? And you figured that out in the comments. Little Troy? I wouldn't have guessed that for $100. Even on a multiple choice, I don't know. Your word of the day is China. Per Pee Wee Herman. Fantastic. Ortho loves Savannah. Yeah, I mean, how could it not be fantastic? It's like more Florida. Spanish Inquisition all over. I mean, the people haven't been doing there the people haven't been doing well there for decades. So there you go. Little Troy is from Houston, Texas. All right. You didn't hear about the one from Tulsi's office. Yeah, it was a huge story late yesterday, and they have some clarification now. And you're just wondering who's releasing this stuff while President Trump is negotiating perhaps the most important business meeting of his life with Tim Cook from Apple and Elon from his companies and all these major business leaders to say, hey, we're willing to work in China, but you're not going to steal our stuff. Like we need to open this up back and forth, but you can't trust China. They reverse engineer their stuff. They force you, if you're going to open up a plant, they're going to have their own managers in there stealing all of your trade secrets. Like, that's not a partnership. That's horseshit. Sure, you would want to set things up that way if you were doing it, but nobody would want to work with you if you were. So we'll see how they sort it out and what comes from this trip. But yeah, this news where it seems like there's a coup of yet another coup of the CIA going in and raiding Tulsi's office of JFK stuff and of, what was the other topic? JFK and it's not alternative energy sources. JFK. I just saw the stories. Here, let me find it. I mean, I guess we could talk about that story. I sort of have it pulled up here. Let's go. to this one. Anna Paulina Luna. How about that? I think this is News Nation. Let me finish running through comments real quick. David says the judge is ignoring the 300,000 so far signed petition. Well, these judges need to be replaced. Like, you can't have corrupt judges in a system you're trying to make fair. You have to swap out judges. Alberta is said to have enough votes, and that says a lot. David's never seen curvature as many times as he's flown. Yeah, I mean, out on this big lake, you could just see. It felt like you were in a snow globe. You could feel the curve of the earth. I don't know how else to say it, but Dina says, Brian, you cracked me up. What did I do to crack you up? I don't know what was funny, but I'll keep trying. I mean, this isn't per se a comedy show, but I've been getting into stand-up comedy, and I've always loved making people laugh. You could either laugh or you could cry. Did Kelly leak that? No, it wasn't Kelly. I don't believe. David says all the stuff there was probably left on purpose to be taken by the CIA just to entrap them, but who knows? Well, the timeline is important. Let's go ahead and pull up the news. Oh, before I do, let me put the captions up at the bottom. My name is Brian. I am your bartender. Welcome to the bar. Belly on up. I'm going to serve you an interesting experience for the next couple hours. And the bill will be $0. I will slide you the credit card tab at the end. It will say you owe $0. But there's ways you can tip your favorite bartender. Patreon, you can sign up for like $5-10 a month, or $100 a month, or $1,000 a month. I mean, a couple of whale donors make could you imagine? A couple of whale donors. And all donations are fantastic because they just get transferred from one hand to the other to pay the other stack of business bills. That's how we keep the lights on here at this bar. So you can do Patreon, Rumble, or YouTube monthly subscriptions. Thank you to everybody who has. And everybody can go to Patreon at least right now and sign up for the free version. I mean, while you're there, you could click the $5 or $10 version. We post like usually twice a month. But those are great places to support the program. If you want to see more of something, you support it. If you're sick of seeing something, you disconnect from it. That's sort of how it goes. I love this bar. I do too. The bar's name is called the Moon Saloon. That's neither here nor there. It's the name of a script that I've been working on for a long time. You call it the TNAM bar. TNAM bar works. You call it the TNAM bar, or the TNAM Daily Show bar, the New American Media bar. Oh, and I did the Pee Wee Herman impersonation. Yeah, I think I do that laugh fairly well. A lot of my impressions, I want to record myself doing it and then listen back and then see if I can tweak them a little bit. I do them stream of consciousness most of the time, but yeah, happy to have you. Hello, Frank Waltrip. How you doing? Did Ortho invite you in? Thanks for being here. Everybody invite your friends. We're going to dig through the news. We're basically in this bar going to talk about everything happening on the TVs, and your comments are important. We try to work them into the show. So leave your comments, hit the thumbs up button, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. And then the final way to tip your bartender today is Venmo and Cash App. That's my name, Brian Engelman, scrolling at the bottom of the screen, or PayPal, fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. All right, let's get to let's go to that screen. There we go. Anna Paulina Luna. I mean, she's been one of the most important voices out there as of late. So here she is. Is this News Nation? Forget this lady's name. She's been around. So let's start here. What is going on with these claims that the CIA seized boxes from Tulsi's office? News Nation says that's according to Anna Paulina Luna. Let's take a listen. That's not exactly accurate.
Before we get to the CIA whistleblower about the COVID-19 pandemic and Dr. Anthony Fauci's role in the cover-up, you also have some news coming out of the CIA that you'd like to share.
Yeah, so we were actually just notified that the CIA went in and took documents out of ODNI, multiple boxes pertaining to the JFK files as well as MKUltra. The reason why this is troubling is A, there was an executive order that the president had directed the full declassification of JFK, but then also to the MKUltra files, the CIA famously has said that, all
There it was. Sorry, MKUltra. Maybe they were working on me. Rutabaga must run at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and try to shoot anything I can. I've been activated. I'm a robot under mind control, MKUltra. That's what the CIA seized. The story is that MKUltra never stopped. Of course it didn't stop. Gain of function, did that stop? Of course that didn't stop.
Documents were released and other documents had been destroyed. So these are allegedly those documents that apparently never existed. And so very troubling. I did just talk to Chairman Comer, and we are sending in the next hour or so a preservation of documents request to the CIA. I have calls into the White House, to the director of the CIA himself. And so obviously, as this develops, we'll keep everyone up to date. But strange times we're living in, that's for sure.
Does the CIA have jurisdiction to go into Gabbard's office like that and take documentation?
Well, the CIA does not have jurisdiction to work against an executive order by the president. And so
we're trying to figure out what happened, why it happened. And it was allegedly, my understanding was before CIA Director John Ratcliffe came in. He came in January 23 of 25. Huh. So that can't be true. Hang on, let me ask Grop. When did the CIA steal files from DNI? Because this has been misreported so many different ways. We're just trying to figure it out. No confirmed incident of CIA stealing files. Okay, yes it is. The claim, a whistleblower, reportedly James Erdman III. I don't know him. Who's James Erdman III? Testifying before a Senate committee that the CIA entered DNI Tulsi Gabbard's office and seized approximately 40 boxes of files. These allegedly included documents related to JFK, MKUltra, and possibly other sensitive historical records that were being prepared for declassification. DNI's response, the Office of Director of National Intelligence, flatly denied the raid. Press Secretary Olivia Coleman stated on X, "This is false. The CIA did not raid the DNI's office." Okay, Republican Rep. Anna Paulina Luna referenced the whistleblower's claims and sent a letter to CIA Director John Ratcliffe urging preservation of records, but she later clarified aspects of the reporting. And this is her clarifying some of the aspects.
The fact that someone did this when the president is out of country, from what I gather, I believe that Director Ratcliffe is with him. And so this seems like it was an internal coup, to be honest.
An internal coup, to be honest. That was from 2 hours ago. She types after that interview, "I'm noticing a few large accounts falsely stating that I claimed there was a raid on Tulsi Gabbard's office by the CIA. This is completely false. There is no clip or statement that exists. Why is there an orchestrated push for this narrative? Yeah, this narrative exactly when we're trying to have the highest stakes negotiation geopolitically maybe ever. Definitely for President Trump's life. Definitely his political life. The ramifications of a global reset with China and Russia and Venezuela and Iran and Cuba. I mean, you got to understand what the deep state actors have done to put their rogue regimes into key locations all across the globe. No, I don't want $5 a gallon gas. You kidding me? Forget that. This is garbage. Would I swap this term for Kamala Harris? She would have shut down drilling and imposed all sorts of stuff. The gas would have been right back up to the $5+ it was under Biden. No, I wouldn't switch that. But I think we're recalibrating everything. Routing more oil tankers into the Gulf of America. Turning America, I mean, we've been a net exporter, and why wouldn't we be? If we have it, why wouldn't we use it? You know, this push to align with the Chinese government, the CCP, to get rid of combustion engines and focus only on lithium mines and battery-powered vehicles and battery-powered this and that. They're opening up coal-fired stacks all over the place. They don't believe that shit. Oh, the Earth, it's heating. The Earth is cooling. Is it? You mean there's climate changes? Climate change! Evil humans. Too many humans. Get rid of the humans. Yeah, that's what it said on the Georgia Guidestones. And those got knocked down, by the way. Ted Turner was often suspected to be the person that was behind that. What was it? The goal is to keep the Earth's population under 500 million for harmony. People are genuinely concerned about the things that the leaders that be, the powers that be, are telling you, you must ingest this, you must put this inside of you. You wonder, well, why? Is this going to cause problems with my ability to procreate? And by the way, since it's so expensive to procreate, and because the marriage divorce laws are so punitive to the father, and because of, well, the birth control pill and the normalization of hedonistic activities since the 60s on, we aren't really having kids. Still getting aborted, but not really creating children and raising families. And so the U.S. doesn't have anybody to fill up their Ponzi scheme of Social Security and the Federal Reserve private banking note. You know, the whole ball of wax that's all just smushed together. So you flood the country with 40 million people who don't have the same values, don't behave the same way, don't respect us, and are just abusing us and stealing our resources that we need to help the current batch of people that are the drug addicts, the mentally and physically disabled, the homeless all over the streets. We're not cleaning our Jordan Peterson says, clean your bloody room. Yeah, clean your bloody room. Clean your room before you tell everybody else how to live. And these Democrat-led hellholes are on full display, as seen with Spencer Pratt and all of his fun advertising, because it's not fun to go to a park and see a homeless encampment. And you got needles, you got syringes, you got disease, you got violence, you got theft. Not cool. So yeah, there's a big difference between one side and the other. So it's just interesting that this information is coming out now, right in the middle of very important negotiations, just like at the very important stage of finalizing some sort of peace deal with Iran. Mark Kelly goes out and says, yeah, we got nothing left. We have no more. And it's like, what? Who would say that? Where's the court martial? Is there any justice for the repeated transgressions of the Democrat deep state party? Yes, Frank, doing well. Hope everyone's doing great as well. Yes, we are. Thank you for being here. Hit like, hit subscribe. We're here Monday through Friday at noon. At some point, the show might go to early mornings. At some point, the show might go to the evenings. But for now, it's at noon, Monday through Friday. So thank you. Orthos suggests someone is going to be in hot water. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. David says, the CIA is not supposed to be able to operate in the United States. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, that's a joke. We all know this. I mean, the CIA was directly involved with the grand conspiracy. That's a coup. That's treason. To overthrow Trump. To frame Trump. To assassinate Trump. Like, their fingerprints are all over these operations. Proven in a court of law? No. Suggested? Highly suspected? Yeah. If this is real, the bad actors just keep exposing themselves. Yeah, one of the best ways to root out a mole is to feed false information, and whoever lets it out, you go, oh, well, I told you that I was picking you up in a purple car. I didn't tell that to anybody else. And now the news is reporting that, can you believe J.D. Vance drives a purple car? It's a crime against humanity. You're trying to appropriate grimace culture from McDonald's. That was the big purple one, right? Barney, the dinosaur. That's cultural appropriation. Rah, 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 rah. And you go, oh, well, you're the only one I told purple. So it was you and you're fired. Dan Bongino spent about a year behind the scenes trying to remove the infiltrators. It's not an easy task, but hopefully they are exposing themselves, David. I agree. David, or is this all part of the end of this horrific movie? I mean, maybe. U.S. needs more refineries. The last one in Texas, first one in 50 years. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, we need refineries more than we need data centers. We need the ability to build our transistors, our power system. We need to fortify our electrical grid and be able to bring up backup transformers and other infrastructure if it gets fried. Absolutely. Texas City is the refinery capital of the world. Yeah, we need more of that. We need some on each coast, and do it safe and do it clean as you can. But yeah, we got to really focus on that sort of infrastructure. We learned during COVID how vulnerable we are. U.S. needs more refineries to process the different grades of crude. Yep. Yeah, there's sludgy, there's really light. So anyway, Anna Paulina Luna says that. John Solomon says, breaking, Director of National Intelligence denies reports that the CIA raided Tulsi Gabbard's office to seize documents related to JFK and MKUltra. That from John Solomon. Is this the same clip?
Coming out of the CIA that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so we were actually just notified that the CIA went in and took documents out of ODNI, multiple boxes pertaining to
Anna Paulina's clarification took documents that ODNI has jurisdiction over. Also, this did not happen today and was not a raid. However, it did take place, and we are just being made aware of it based on reporting. So that's the clarification. Ultra MAGA says it's becoming increasingly apparent that there's absolutely zero accountability within the Intelligence Committee. Katie Pavlich says, update on this and more. On News Nation, the documents not taken today was not a raid on DNI Gabbard's office. People from the CIA took documents related to the MKUltra JFK files from the National Reconnaissance Office last year. So it was last year in the middle of the night during the government shutdown. In the middle of the night during the government shutdown. So you turn off the power, you commit your deeds, and then you turn the power back on. Who caused the shutdown? That was the Democrats. Who do you look at as prime suspect? Democrats, deep state operatives, traitors. And they have not returned, and they are withholding those documents from Office of Director of National Intelligence because the CIA is withholding these documents. They cannot be declassified and scanned for public release. The CIA doesn't think they answer to anyone. I doubt CIA Director Ratcliffe knew about it. That was the part. Not that it was before he was there. It's just the suggestion and the suspicion that they don't think Ratcliffe knew about it. That's subjective, and that's a who knows. But here's Jesse Waters kind of breaking it down because it's a little nuanced. He's with John Kiriakou, I think.
CIA just raided Tulsi Gabbard's office. Agents hauled out dozens.
So they're reporting it as just raided, but the clarification is that this happened last year.
CIA just raided Tulsi Gabbard's office. Agents hauled out dozens of boxes, files on the JFK assassination and MKUltra, the CIA mind control operation, which she was in the process of declassifying. Today's whistleblower said it during his deposition, and Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna confirmed it moments ago.
The reason why this is troubling is, A, there was an executive order that the president had directed the full declassification of JFK, but then also to the MKUltra files. The CIA famously has said that, all documents were released and other documents had been destroyed. So these are allegedly those documents that apparently never existed.
Can the CIA overrule the president? No. CIA just raided.
All right, I didn't press play. You don't need to play it at the same time. But does that mean it didn't happen? No, not necessarily. Kind of a weird story. Insider Wire deleted their recent post about the supposed CIA raid due to additional clarification. At the time of the post, both Fox News and News Nation confirming the report, but we're now learning that the event took place last year. So that's the context you need to know. Let's take a look up here. President Trump makes a point to President Xi. about the level to which he takes this meeting seriously and he wants to make big things happen. Yes, last year, David. That's what they're saying. It was last year, but maybe they're just discovering it now, or they're just learning about it now, or they're trying to do something and they're still waiting and they're not hearing something. All right. This is up as loud as it can get. It's a little quiet, but this is President Trump talking to Xi Jinping.
Great delegation that we have. We have the greatest businessmen, the biggest, I guess the best in the world. We have amazing people, and they're all with me. Every single one of them. We asked the top 30 in the world, every single one of them said yes. And I didn't want the second or the third in the company. I wanted only the top. And they're here today to pay respects to you and to China. And they look forward to trade and doing business, and it's going to be totally reciprocal on our behalf. So I really look very much forward to our discussion. It's a big discussion. There are those that of all of this.
So if that was a little too quiet to hear, we asked the top 30 business leaders in the world. Every single one of them said yes. And I didn't want the second or the third person in the company. I only wanted the top. And they're here today to pay respects to you, to China, and they look forward to trade and doing business. It's going to be totally reciprocal on our behalf. So it's like a mutually assured business partnership. Yeah, I was just hitting the ortho in the comments. You're putting up the gold and silver prices. Yeah, I was just looking about 47 an ounce for gold, about 87. A little lower at the moment, but yeah. So President Trump is trying to set up some business relations and say, hey, let's work together and not be enemies. Like, well, we're going to be rivals, but we can work together in a fair way in a lot of things and set the terms and see if you can rewrite the history books. It's been a bit of a mess lately. MAGA voice says, Dear Lord, please protect. President Trump, Elon Musk, Tesla CEO, Tim Cook, Apple CEO, Kelly Ortberg, Boeing CEO, Jensen Huang, NVIDIA CEO, Larry Fink, BlackRock CEO, Jane Fraser, Citigroup CEO, Sanjay Mehrotra, Micron CEO, Larry Culp, General Electric CEO, Cristiano Aman, Qualcomm CEO, David Solomon, Goldman Sachs CEO. A bunch of investment bankers, a bunch of huge companies saying, hey, and I'm not in the meetings. One of the biggest problems with working with China is that they steal your intellectual property and then they just pretend that they came up with it. A lot of people say that's how several of the big name companies in China, got the wherewithal. They're stealing it. You can't do business with a thief. So we'll see. We'll see if there's some parameters to get this set up. President Trump at the Chinese state banquet. Place burst into applause. Let me see if it's just my computer that's low. No. Some quiet videos. Filled to the brim with cabinet officials, Elon, Jensen Huang, Tim Cook, President Xi, and others. Absolutely historic. Just don't throw up at dinner like George H.W. Bush. Remember he threw up at that Japanese dinner? Right up there. Elon taking pictures with people. He seems gassed. Making silly faces. Elon living his best. Ooh. That'll make a good tweet. I said, ooh, look who's behind me. Look. That's like Orville Redenbacher's skinnier brother. Yes. Yeah. Dramatization. Audio made out of a curd. May not have. X-Free said Elon stole the banquet, already posing for someone else when Xiaomi CEO Li Jun walked up to his idol asking for a selfie. Poses with the funniest face, does the same funny expressions. Apple CEO Tim Cook too. Now Elon became the main attraction across Chinese media and the entire world. Is X allowed in China right now? I don't know the answer to that. All right, let's go to the rando stories here. We're so out of order. We'll do this as a standalone, then we'll bounce over to our Instagram feed. Make sure you're following the New American Media in all the places. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button. subscribe. Remember, we have Rumble Rants and Super Chats if you want to toss something in the tip jar. This is Representative Pramila Jayapal, member of the squad.
For years, since I got into Congress, I have been saying that we need to pass what we passed in the House, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. We needed to get big money out of politics. We needed to reform the Supreme Court so it actually represents the people of the United States. Now, all of these things are blocked by the Jim Crow legacy filibuster in the Senate that refuses to allow the majority of the will of the people to come through in any of these things. And so the Supreme Court has been, the highest court in the land, the only court with no ethics, no transparency at all. And they have continually been doing whatever they can to turn back the clock. And so if we don't understand the consequences of that, and to our previous conversation, if we keep going back to say, well, we keep the filibuster in place because it allows us to be, thoughtful in our deliberations in the Senate, we are missing the fact that 40 mostly white men who represent 12% of the country's population.
Yeah, white men. There's the problem right there. You saw her, the host, like, it's white men. Got to blame white men. To all the people who want to try to tell me that I'm full of it, there's not really many, and you can't really take that seriously because it's so obvious. It's one of the major attack strategies, major attack plans of the Democrat Party to attack white men, straight white Christian men. That's like the number one target and has been for decades. I can't believe you're spouting that replacement theory drivel. It's all fake. It's all fake. They use their own words and we listen.
In the Senate, we are missing the fact that 40 mostly white men who represent 12% of the country's
Who's this host? This dope. She's like, white man. I can blame that.
Men who represent 12.
Yep, there you go. You blamed white men? Yep, that's exactly the soundbite I needed.
We are missing the fact that 40 mostly white men who represent 12% of the country's population in the United States Senate can block us from actually reinstituting voting rights, reforming the Supreme Court, and doing all of the things that are required for us to uphold our democracy.
Yeah. It's a constitutional republic, not a democracy, by the way. Are you aware of this? Are you aware? That's like the only bag of tricks that they have. So they play it nonstop. All right, let's bounce over here to our Instagram feed. Yeah, Chinese nationals are buying up land that's going to be used for high-tension power line project. Yeah, we got to gain control of our infrastructure, hands down. And you got to get away from our military bases, hands down. Kenneth has entered the chat. Me Chinese, me tell joke. There once was a 9-inch pianist. Kenneth off the top ropes again. Good to have you. Yeah, she does have an evil eye. She's got an evil persona. She's a crazy paid congresswoman. She could be a demon. Hey, Ortho, racism is alive and well in Congress. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're talking about buying up land and putting in big projects. Let's just listen to Alex talking about AI data centers. They're going to have more power than Earth? What does that even mean?
Soon to consume more.
He said AI data centers are soon to consume more
energy than everything else on Earth. But you can't have a car or air conditioning. A cow can't fart. But you can have these giant data centers with whatever coal plants they want.
Exactly. They're focused on cow farts. The deep state Democrats are the absolute bottom of the barrel when it comes to coming up with ideas, solutions to problems. It's just like clockwork. It's really like clockwork.
On gas, solar, sucking up 5 million gallons a day on average, pumping it through toxic silicon pipes and right back into the earth. And they sound like a giant satanic beehive 6 miles away. It's like, with all these super chips so the computers can track and trace and make you obsolete and take control of your life. And we're just told, make way for the machines, lay down to it. It's the way it is. But I'm one of the first to say years ago, oh, it's going to need all this power, but we can't have any power. The machines they're already, pull it up, AI data centers soon to consume more energy than everything else on Earth. AI data centers will consume more power than all the cars, all the tractors, all your devices, everything we do, the electricity for light bulbs, everything. How much does it take to power AI? 100x more. So it gets 100 times the power while you get less. And we told everybody.
And I've said from the beginning, separate the two issues. Are these big, massive spy centers that are bringing the panopticon into effect? Maybe. I'm not going to argue against that. Just set that aside for a second. Imagine that AI data centers are going to be useful, valuable, helpful. We can disagree that they will, and I'm not saying I do agree with that. But if they're going to be built, they need to dynamite and build a massive catchment basin for water, catch all of your water that you need, and you got to reuse it. Why are you pumping it back into the ground? You need to recycle it. Keep it in a closed loop system. Why is there no way to do this? And if they can't do that, why are we allowing it to happen? These are not things you can unbuild once they're there. I mean, flying over the earth, you're going to see like these giant microchips plopped in. Look at a computer CPU at a control board. I mean, these things are going to be massive. So why don't they have to be required to produce their own energy and give some energy back to the grid? Don't be a drain on active resources, be a blessing to future resources. Finally, while you're blasting out your lake, why don't you blast out the area and dig down into the earth so you're not making a noise that's harming the environment? Libertarian philosophy in a nutshell is basically do as thou wilt, but harm no one in the process. You don't get to do what you want if you're harming people. And these data centers seem to be harming people. It seems fairly obvious to me.
When these data centers go in, it's going to jack up power prices so much more. They're going to pass on the cost to you. Already, the people near data centers are seeing double the power bills. A giant screw job. They're already telling the panhandle, oh, sorry, in Texas, you can't grow cotton or soybeans anymore. We're going to take all the water out of the aquifer for the AI. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is for a new life form. This is for a robot takeover. The 5Gs that have all the drones and robots and everything's deliverable. It's all about getting you out of your cars, making you obsolete. This is absolutely hellish what is being done. And it just goes on for mile after mile after mile after mile of what they're building. So if you have any logic out there, remember, you can't have a car. You can't have an air conditioner. You can't have a dog or cat because they have too big a carbon footprint. They're already trying to put taxes on them in Europe. You can't have a barbecue pit because it puts off carbon. You can't have a space heater. It's evil. But the machines get whatever they want. Their own nuclear reactors, you name it. Everything's great. Everything's wonderful. And now they're admitting, oh, sorry, nanonuclear soars on strategic MOU with Supermicro for powering AI data centers. And they tell us it's making us obsolete and it's dumbing us down and causing brain damage and wrecking society and killing all the human jobs. AI data centers soon to consume more energy than everything else on Earth. But
oh, that's some doom and gloom, huh? I've got concerns. David says the Democrats are NWO a-holes. Hence says AI. I don't get it. If they bring out free energy, then maybe we could talk. Yes! And by the way, still build them underground, still catch your water, still reuse your water, keep it in a closed loop system, and put your own power plant there to generate. Do like a generation 3. The generation 3 is, I don't think they've ever had a meltdown. Like, it's a different technology. It can't happen. Chernobyl was bad, but it was also sort of blown out of proportion. if you can imagine that. So there you go. Yeah, free energy. That sounds way better. Isn't that what they say Tesla was working on? Nikola Tesla? Ortho says some HOAs are banning rain catchment systems. I mean, you know, sue them. Take it. Do it. It's water from the sky. You don't own water from the sky. I'm not. That's a game I'm not playing. I'm not tolerating that. That's madness. Because once your catchment systems fill up, then it's just going to go where it goes. It cycles through. Yeah, Dina says Newsom lets that water run off into the ocean. Exactly. Delta smelt. That's what we need to take priorities on. Dynamite. And then again, dynamite not. But yeah, put them in the ground. If they're humming and buzzing and making a nuisance for everybody, put them in the ground. We played a clip yesterday. Was it BlackRock CEO? JP Morgan Chase, one of the financial something. And they were talking about how they need to start thinking about constructing these data centers underground so they can't be targeted by like a drone attack. Okay. Well, there you have it. Put them underground, catch the water, build a power plant. Or just don't do it. Don't allow it. I mean, both are acceptable answers. Because we do need power. But I mean, is this going to be like Terminator 2? It's going to be like the machines rising up? That's not going to be good. Bring it to people's attention that people can decide if they want them around any residential neighborhoods. Well, the residents of, where was that? Was that Utah? We played that a few shows ago. Residents all showed up and said, no, you're not doing that here. We don't want that here. And they ignored them. They moved the meeting into another room. Place was packed and they just didn't want to deal with their constituents. What's an atmospheric water generator? I'm listening. Yeah, 3 Mile Island, Fukushima, Chernobyl. But the Gen 3s don't have that problem. Ortho, never heard of the atmospheric water generator. Yeah, I'm Ecola Blue Systems. What does it do? What does the device do? I'm kind of curious. Oh, is this the InfoWars account? No, but they're clipping it. So yeah, I'll just follow the account. Why not? All right, Anna Paulina Luna. CIA seized 40 boxes of JFK MKUltra files. Says leading report. Anna Paulina Luna responds, the CIA has 24 hours to return the documents to Tulsi Gabbard's office, or else I will make a motion to issue a subpoena. These documents have been requested by Congress. We'll be following up on this, CIA. Preserve the documents and deliver them to DNI Gabbard immediately, or we will hold you in contempt of Congress. Resist the coup.
You know, the
JD Vance with a good line here. President and all the bigwigs are in China, so he's in the White House, hanging out here in D.C.
president just landed in China a few hours ago. I always, you may know that because of Secret Service protocols that I don't travel outside of the country with the President of the United States. So on days today, I sometimes feel like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. I walk into the White House and it's very quiet and no one's there, and it takes me a second to realize exactly what's going on. But we've got a very big announcement today, actually a number of big announcements. You know, the president just landed in China a few hours ago.
Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. Somebody make the memes. Ortho, in a crunch, you can use dehumidifiers to produce water. Okay. Yeah, why do we need data centers if the data's in the clouds? Duh. Can't believe nobody's talked about that, Kenneth. I agree. Atmospheric water generation is a must. Don't be caught without one. Atmospheric water generator pulls water for air humidity. Is it a machine that needs power, or is it something that's passive? No, that's very interesting. My water catchment system has failed me. There's a crack in the bottom, and flex tape didn't seal it. I was hoping that might work. I figured I'd at least try it, but it did not work. So yeah, I got to double down on my water catchment systems right now. And I might want to add them in additional places, actually. This might be the time for that. Often attributed to Werner von Braun, the last card they play will be the alien card, and it's a lie. It's all a lie. Can I double check that quote? Werner von Braun. I see it everywhere. Did he quote the last card they will play is the alien card? No, he did not directly quote those exact words in any verifiable public record. Okay. That feels relevant. Claim comes from Carol Rosen, von Braun's colleague and assistant in the 70s at Fairchild Industries, has repeatedly said in interviews since the 80s, 90s that he privately warned her about a sequence of fabricated threats to justify space weapons. Russians and Soviets, terrorists, rogue nations, asteroids, aliens, and extraterrestrials as the last card. Her most common version of this quote, and remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens, and all of it's a lie. Testimonial, hearsay only, no audio, video, letter, or third-party confirmation from von Braun exists that he said that. He died of cancer in 1977. Rosen has been consistent in retelling it, but it remains unproven. Bottom line, it's attributed to him via Rosen's account, but he never publicly said it. There's no hard evidence beyond her word. So, actually, I should post that in the comments. Let me condense this analysis into a short statement I can post to correct the record on an Instagram post. I mean, it is so hard to discern what's accurate. I might have looked this up before. But anyway, regardless, we're all thinking that right now. All right, the Texas father, remember when this happened? Protecting his wife and children after a carjacker tries stealing their vehicle with the family still inside? Was he charged?
66 and Dairy Road. Police say the man had tried to steal several vehicles by force before trying this one. He was taken to a hospital and pronounced dead. Fox 4's David Sintendry has more from the investigation. David.
Well, a majority of family members were inside that vehicle as the carjacker tried to take off with it. The father of that family shot and killed the suspect, and it was all captured on video.
You could definitely tell that he was not in his right state of mind.
Surveillance video shows a man attacking and trying to carjack a family of 8 in Garland Sunday afternoon before the father shoots and kills him.
I'm just glad that the man was able to protect himself and his family.
Tatiana Starks manages Garland Smoke and Vape in a shopping center near Highway 66 and Dairy Road.
We heard a loud crash.
Garland Police Department says the carjacker initially crashed into 2 other vehicles.
While we were responding to the scene, we received more information that the driver of that car had exited and immediately began physically trying to get into other vehicles in that parking lot.
Starks says she saw the man breaking into several vehicles at a gas station, so she took cell phone footage.
He tried to get in several different cars.
She stopped recording as the man began walking across the street toward her.
Always pay attention when you're out in public. Always pay attention when you're out in public. Don't have your head down, buried in the phone. Hey, question of the day. Tell me in the comments. I issued a challenge to everybody yesterday to go out and walk around the universe and talk to strangers. Did anybody do that? So while we're out talking to strangers, just be aware of your surroundings. Don't make yourself a victim. Just be alert, be aware. Don't put yourself into bad situations.
Did he make direct eye contact with you?
Yes, he was walking very intentionally.
The family of 8 unaware of what was happening and what was about to happen.
He ended up going into their car.
Video shows the carjacker in the peach shirt confronting the father in the white shirt. The father struggles with the suspect, who's trying to drive off with the family's car, with family members inside, including a baby. After nearly a minute of struggle, the carjacker, who's in the driver's seat, is shot by the father, who's outside the car near the passenger side door.
It seemed to be self-defense.
Police do not expect to file charges against the father.
It kind of all really.
No, you don't. The fact that people are even wondering, should you file charges against the father? That's insane. It was stupid doing that with Kyle Rittenhouse. It was stupid doing that with Daniel Penny. It's stupid doing that with this guy.
Really happened really fast.
Self-defense is one of the most important cornerstones of American society.
Starks, a witness to everything, just grateful we're talking about a story in which no victims were hurt.
It's just a blessing that the kids and the family walked away with no injuries.
So Garland Police Department is still working to identify that suspect who was shot and killed. So at this point in time, we don't know what sort of background this individual has, if there are any warrants out for his arrest, or if there's anything specific that he was trying to get away from after that initial crash. Heather and Steve.
All right, so David, do we know if that carjacker was armed?
Well, police say they did not recover any weapons on scene from that individual, just the weapon that was used to shoot and kill him. So no weapons found by police on that suspect. But again, they are adamant, as you can see in that video, that he was trying to use force to carjack that family's vehicle. And at this point in time, it doesn't sound like any charges are going to be pursued against that father.
66 and Derek.
Good news. It's stupid that we have to even talk about it. Scott Bessent talking about stupid here. He's talking about Gavin Newsom.
The Gavin Newsom, one thing I would tell you, if you want to go back to boxing, that guy cannot take a punch. I mean,
What do you mean?
He likes to dish it out, but you push back on him and he gets completely flustered. I mean, it is, you bark at him and he...
Glass jaw.
Glass jaw, and I think like slow brain.
Okay. Well, Secretary Bessent.
Glass jaw, slow brained. That is a bad combo. There we go. I did not play music. Ortho says Frank Waltrip is on board with all prepping essentials. Yeah. If you're on Facebook, there's a private group called TNAM Preparedness. TNAM Preparedness. Join that Facebook group. It's all about prepping. We have like 30 TNAM groups on Facebook, including the TNAM's The Agree to Disagree show. Yesterday, my question of the day. Did you go out and talk to new people? Nope, I smiled. Does that count? No. It's a video game. You know, in the video games, and whether it's Zelda or Assassin's Creed or I don't know, the Sims, you walk around, you talk to people, and when you get close, the thought bubble comes up, and you press X. Would you like to talk to them or no? It's good to do. I did, and it was good. It has to happen. I mean, the only way things are going to change, the only way that, if you're not a player in the game, you stand no chance. Like if you're just a spectator, it's a video game. So let's go play the video game. Ortho thinks he will be no build. We shall see. David says F around, F find out. No charges. Kenneth on the question of the day. I did go out and get the mail. Someone said hello to me. He knows things. Did you slink back like this? Like Homer Simpson into the bushes? Wait, how does that work? There, the bushes are here. You slink back into the bushes? So, yeah. All right, Rupert Lowe, MP, talking about Britain and stuff here. I've just watched a video from some unwashed left-wing influencer claiming that Restore Britain wants to remove 1 million people over a period of 5 years. Did you hear that one? Rupert Lowe says, I want to make our response really clear because this is just blatant misinformation. We'll deport far more than that. You don't just get to invade nations and bring your different preferences to change what's already going on here. We got a thing going on here. You want to work your way through the system, go to school for 4 years and try to graduate. You want to go through the citizenship process, all the vetting, prove that you're capable, you're healthy, you have sound mind and body, you are competent, qualified, you're successful, you bring skills to the table, you're going to be able to help, you're going to learn English, you're going to pass the citizenship test. We're going to go through your social media and find out what you're really all about. You don't just waltz in and get to stay. But that's what the Democrat deep state, Joe Biden, Mayorkas, Biden, Harris, just all of them, the whole terrible lot of them. And that's what they've been pushing. So there's that. They're going to depart far more than that. Wanted to set the record straight. Ben Swan, I'm not going to play the full 8.5-minute report, but let's get a glimpse of this one.
With a look at the madness surrounding the rise of these AI data centers that are now popping up all across the country.
Yep.
These are massive industrial complexes that are being built across the U.S. And like locusts or some kind of old world plague, they are devouring up everything in their path. And while big tech calls it the future, it may be a dystopian future. So many Americans already experience it as a nightmare. I'm talking about much higher electric bills, water shortages, and even land grabs. And the craziest part here, you're paying for every bit of it. Take a look at this map. The United States already has thousands of data centers operating right now. And according to new research, another 3,000 to 30,000
thousands already, and now 3,000 to 5,000 more.
500 are planned or already under construction.
Man, look at how many in Ohio. Stealing up all the farmland. I don't think that's great.
Globally, they require a staggering 190 gigawatts of power. To put that in perspective, that's more electricity than some entire countries use. And these facilities aren't just eating up electricity, they are devouring water. The U.S. data center industry is already using 449 million gallons of water every single day. Now, here's where the story gets really dark. Because while big tech executives promise innovation, ordinary people are being crushed. Let's take a look at Georgia.
Yeah. There's no universe where an AI data center should make your electricity go up. It should go down. There's no universe where it should mess up your water supply. You should have extra water reserves. This is stupidity that anyone's allowing these to be built without their own water and their own power. Period. A closed loop system. You're building your own mini city. All right. This is the most basic first question I would have. Well, if you want to have them, and I'm not sure that I want them to be here, you're going to handle all of your resources yourself, right? First answer would be, well, you know, pretty important.
A sunny afternoon in Atlanta, Georgia. But inside Carolyn Kane's 3,000 square foot home, it's cold.
I'm walking around in a ski suit, trying to stay warm in the winter. My fur jackets.
It's just one of the ways Kane has tried to beat her skyrocketing electric bills.
Carolyn's story is not unique. So this is the data center, and I'd like you to...
Patty Duran founded nonprofit
Anyway, it's going to go on with this report. I suggest you watch it. Ben Swan. You see him on the TNAM Daily Show intro. We've talked with him a few times. So check out his full report. Hey, new UFO files. Great. Let's take a look. The new UFO files confirmed absolutely nothing about alien life. Good. Democrats would already be trying to give them foreign aid and voting rights. You just know that that's accurate, despite how ridiculous it sounds. Oh, here's a great post of the day. I really do, folks. I I'm the show producer. I'm the engineer. I'm the on-air talent. I'm the, well, talent, if you consider this guy talented. I try to bring you a mixture. You know, Kenneth would often, I'd start getting angry at stories, whether it's Irina Zarutska or, you know, certain terrible stories. And if I'm going on and on about it for too long, Kenneth will be like, vibes check. You know, he'll be like, hey, man, you're spiraling. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm trying to get the point across. But I try to bring you positive stories. Check this one out. San Antonio man down in Texas sacrifices his own truck to stop a runaway vehicle after the driver passes out from a medical emergency. He saved the man's life and likely many others.
Yeah, that's in my truck.
Do not be by that 18-wheeler right now, please.
Shit.
Do not be by this 18-wheeler.
Oh, shit.
No, no, no. Somebody needs to stop him. What are we going to do?
I don't know.
What are we going to do? Oh, God, oh, God, oh,
What
God.
would you
He's going
do?
to hit us. He's going to... They're asleep, Renee. Oh, fuck, 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 fuck. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Locked it
Oh,
into
my
the
God.
Call 911.
No, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's in my truck.
Do not be by that 18-wheeler right now,
Holy
please.
shit.
Do not be by this 18-wheeler.
Bravo. That's America. Yeah. This is what America represents. This is the way. This is what being an American is. Don't give me all these happy horse shit. I'm going to complain about things that happened hundreds of years ago, stories. And, oh, it's such a bad place. I don't want to hear it. This is what America is. You're supposed to look after people, rise to the occasion, try to be helpful, try to be polite, try to be a force for good in the world, be supremely dangerous, and then keep that very restricted, keep that very constrained. You know, there's no, well, I think it was Jordan Peterson. There's no morality in being a weakling. So there's that. That's what America represents. Stepping in and trying to help out and doing hero stuff. This is what America represents. Bravo. But the point is, I try to show you good stories. I try to mix it up a little bit because, man, some of these days it's just a pile of garbage I got to sift through. That's why John on our TNAM meme team. Yeah, and Rescue Animals. That's another group that we have on Facebook, Dina. TNAM Animal Rescue. TNAM Animal Rescue. Everybody on Facebook, go to TNAM Animal Rescue, TNAM Preparedness, TNAM School Indoctrination Network, SIN. TNAM's the Agree to Disagree show. Geez, how many? I got all the sports groups. TNAM Humor. Find the private groups. We're all over there all day long, grabbing and sharing stuff, talking about things. But yeah, rescuing animals for sure. Because dadgum, it's just the right thing to do. Right, Kenneth? Yeah, when times get tough, Americans stand up. That's what we're built on. That's what we're all about. That's what it means to be an American. None of this other happy horse shit. And our 250th birthday party coming up. Right? Exactly. Oh, China was banned in Michigan from buying land for some industrial thing. Yeah, and they're getting banned all sorts of places. Probably a good idea. All right, President Trump talking about Venezuelan whistleblowers coming forward. Can we please hurry up with this? It just seems like this story has just been lingering for far too long. Indict everybody.
Venezuela and voter fraud. There are Venezuelan engineer whistleblowers who have provided your administration, my understanding is, with a lot of information and documentation alleging vote rigging in the U.S. elections, including in 2020, through an operation engineered in part by our foreign adversaries and centered in Venezuela. Are you familiar with this information, and is anything going to come of that?
A little bit, and well, I'm familiar with voter fraud because we have a lot of it, I believe, coming up on the 2020 election. The 2020 election was rigged. You know, when I used to say that, they'd say, oh, the cameras would turn off. How can you say? Now they don't turn. The information, a lot of it's already out there. The election was rigged. It was rigged. You look at Georgia, you look at Pennsylvania, you look at these states, they were rigged. It was a rigged election. And they used COVID to do it, and they used crooked, dirty cops to do it. You know, they had dirty cops. Like you read about Comey. Comey's a dirty cop.
Venezuela and voter fraud.
FBI now has the Fulton County ballots. We shall see. Man, I hope we can get some clarification and some justice on this stuff.
A random call.
I think we showed you this one. Massachusetts state trooper and armed Marine civilian stopped parolee Tyler Brown after allegedly shooting random vehicles near Harvard, leaving 2 people critically wounded. Brown has a lengthy criminal history, including a 2023 attempt on officers, and he was released trying to K officers despite prior convictions. The 2 victims are hospitalized fighting for their lives.
Cars near Harvard, critically injuring 2 in a...
Oh, that was from a few days ago. It's 3 minutes. I'm not going to play it, but you get the point. That was 2 other people jumping in to help out. Speaking of jumping in to help out, Spencer Pratt's like, this city has turned to shit. I'm from here and I hate it. This has got to get fixed. He's on with Joe Rogan.
To this guy, Juan from Clean LA.
Juan from Clean LA. You want to clean the place? Fund somebody who's already doing it. Watch what's going to happen at a fraction of the budget. Because these bloated budgets, they're not real. They're not real. It's all to overinflate the cost of things. I think they were quoting several $100 million to clean the swampy, algae-filled cesspool, reflecting pool in Washington, D.C., and Trump did it for, what, 40 million, 10 million, somewhere in there, 30. Yes, David, indictments, please. Marion's still looking for some arrests, some indictments, some jail time. No, Kenneth. No TNAM with Ham. We don't have that Facebook group. We don't have TNAM and Scram on Facebook. No, we don't. TNAM live from Vietnam. Good morning, Vietnam. No, we don't have that either. But there's always tomorrow. Anyway, Spencer Pratt's like, there's a dude already cleaning up LA. He's doing a great job. How much would it cost to do this? Well,
moved here from Ecuador, and he said it's the dirtiest thing he's ever seen.
An import from Ecuador says Los Angeles is the dirtiest place he's ever seen.
Whole life, so he just started cleaning up trash and posting it, and now people will give him GoFundMe money, and he cleans more of the city than the city. And
he cleans more of the city than the city. That is disgusting. That is why you don't elect Democrats. Look at what happens in all these big blue cities.
Adam, on my podcast, I said, what's the problem here, Juan? And he said, people don't care.
And I said that in my Section 8 neighborhood. I mean, the people that would just throw their bag of McDonald's fast food trash just all over the streets, right from their car windows into their neighborhoods. They don't care. Because they're on Section 8. They pay like $80 for what other people are paying $3,000 a month for. They don't care. It's subsidized housing. It's permanent renters. Not all the people are bad people by any stretch. But when you don't have skin in the game, you know how many things I've worked on? See, this is where, like, I don't like talking about these stories because it was once told to me that there's something biblically about doing good deeds and keeping them private. Otherwise, the reason you're doing them are for show. They're for self-aggrandizement. So I don't normally. But at the busy intersection nearest me, I went there at 3 a.m. and I spent a couple hours. I feel like I shouldn't have taken that long, but it sort of just did. All of these rocks from landscaping that tumbled into the street and street trash and metal pieces and nails and screws and stuff that nobody's cleaning up. I've called the city and they're just not doing it. So I went out at light traffic and I handled it myself. You know, we've been working in common areas together, chainsawing things and planting things and fixing things, making things nicer. When you have skin in the game, you want everything around you to be awesome, equally awesome. When you don't give a shit, then it's like a radiating force of who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Why would you care? Why would you clean that out? Just throw your trash. Who cares? This is the dump. This is the ghetto Barayana. For all you new people, I was yelled that because I was fixing the irrigation system and planting green things inside of the litter boxes that had become of the broken down, missing many bricks, planter beds at the front or off to the sides of the steps of these condo buildings that I managed. And I got yelled at about making things nice. This is the ghetto Barayana. She didn't want to see a clean house. She didn't want to see a clean building. She didn't want to see green grass. She didn't want to see fresh, succulents or flowers or whatever we put in those planter beds. Because as I told a neighbor the other day, what happened was we had 25 of the 50 buildings in the neighborhood. And you know what? When we painted our worst building, it made the non-HOA building that's next one up, it made that one look that much worse. As we did building after building after building after building after building after building after building, and it's complicated because we had to termite tent first. We had to blast the whole building for 70 years of termites and dry rot. We had to scrape away all the rotten wood. I've told this story before, but for the newcomers, you've never heard it. Every time you fix something, it makes the next most obvious thing that needs fixed. It jumps out at you. And when you start completing tasks, you go, all right, now I'm addicted to completing tasks. I gotta pump this up. I gotta keep going. I'm liking this. So that's the mentality of the American dream, or the guy from Ecuador that comes there and he's like, I want to be here and I want to make this an awesome place. I think there's got to be some room for people that want to actually do the right thing. They're not going to be stealing money on welfare. They're not coming in with an obvious criminal record. We've run the full background checks. You've agreed to learning. There's room for some of this. You want someone like this guy from Ecuador to be here. You want to filter the people for the best. And if there's someone who's just dedicating all this time to doing this and he's just creating a mega empire by cleaning and people are donating to him on Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, which you can do, by the way, here. Rumble rants, super chats, whatever. They get more of it. If you like what's happening, you get more of it. And if you don't support it, it'll stop happening. But I would argue you want a guy like this Ecuadorian guy. What's his name? I don't see his name, but he said it a moment ago.
Spencer. And I said, so when I'm mayor, I hire you. They want $1 billion for
They want $1 billion to clean up the trash.
the trash. He's like, I can do this for easy $500 million. I said, okay, you're hired, Juan. I talked to
Juan.
This guy, Juan from Clean LA.
All right, check out Juan from Clean LA. I want this guy to win in the worst possible way, the best possible way. Yeah, ortho. It's like they like living in squalor. It helps promote their dependency on public assistance. And yeah, it's like gentrification. It's like, oh, shut up. You're anti-white crap. I'm done with it. You're trying to come in here and make it white. Well, this used to be a Jewish area before you came here. Well, it's indigenous land. What, the nomadic peoples who are just wandering all over the place? It's not exactly a territorial claim if you haven't set down roots and established yourself. You're just a transient. You're a passer through. Yeah, you get yelled at. Well, if you leave the city, if you leave the ghetto, Brian, well, then you're racist and that's white flight. Huh? That's white flight. Yes, that's white flight. You're white and you took flight and you ran away from us. You took your tax dollars and now our schools are struggling because you didn't stay to pay your fair share. That's why you're in the suburbs. You're the worst. You go, where the hell is so much venom coming from? You don't know me, lady. Not that my neighbor said that, but, you know, my theoretical lady yelling at me. So that's white flight. But if you come from the suburbs and you move to a big city like I did, you're just, this is a black neighborhood. You're trying to gentrify it. You're just trying to make it all nice, and then you're going to make it so expensive that none of us can live here anymore. Nah. You got to do the devil horns along with this. But it's like such misdirected hostility. I'm not tolerating buildings that are in squalor. We're painting them. The buildings have never been treated. We're treating them for termites. We're going to repair all the damage. We're going to replace the copper pipes that need it. New roofing, new gutters, all of it. All of it. New driveways, new mailboxes, new laundry rooms, power washing the 70 years of LA soot in the carport. Oh, if you could have smelled it that day. Wow. What a smell. So much gas and oil. So yeah, I'm over the slurs, the insults, the attempts to embarrass, or the attempts to shut down my light. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Clean it up. Clean it all up. That's all I was pushing for. Clean it all up and keep things safe around here. That's it. That should be universal. And if you're not on board with that, I don't want your support, and I don't really want to hear much else you have to say. Brandon Gill, Representative Brandon Gill, doesn't really have much to say about violent illegals anymore. He's just done with it. America is what it is, and Biden and Obama did what they did.
Reevaluate why we're allowing in people from all over the globe who are, in this case, unvetted, but why are we allowing them to come in to begin with from cultures that are utterly incompatible with our own? And you're right, I'm sure somebody will call me Islamophobic for saying that, but I care about my wife and my kids and my country a whole lot more than I care about political correctness, and I think the American people do too. We ought to reevaluate why we're allowing.
Yeah, it's just self-preservation. You don't allow yourself to get steamrolled in an invasion. Brandon Gill again.
Now I want to turn to another issue.
This is just what is going on with the Save America Act, and why haven't we replaced John Thune? Hurry the hell up. We're burning daylight.
That you are very vocal about, the Save America Act, which requires voters to show an ID to vote in federal elections. Do you think that there's still hope that this bill will actually get to President Trump's desk before the midterms?
You know, I'm certainly hopeful. I think that realistically the pathway to get the Save America Act to the president's desk is for the Senate to utilize the talking filibuster, which would not require a change in Senate rules. It would simply require that the Senate change slightly how they have operated recently. But what that would allow the Senate to do is to pass the Save America Act with a simple majority. Remember, we passed the Save America Act twice out of the House already. So this is something that's been hung up in the Senate, and it's something that the president and the American people are demanding we get done. So I think that's what they ought to do. Now, there are other potential avenues where we can get Save America Act-like legislation, perhaps through a reconciliation bill. We cannot get the Save America Act as it's currently written through reconciliation, but there might be some election integrity reforms that we can do, and I think we certainly should.
You know, it's just crazy to me that you need, obviously, the House, you passed it, the Senate is, the Democrats in the Senate are just sitting on their hands. They are, it seems like they're deathly afraid of the Save America Act to pass, which is just means you have to show an ID. What do you say if you see a senator, a Democrat senator, or somebody that's opposing the Save America Act? What do you say to them? Is it something where they're just basically literally being traitorous to our country and don't care if our elections are sound and solid, or what?
Well, I think they recognize on the Democrat side that illegal immigrants.
It's such a win for the Republicans. Why are they not doing it? If there's anything in the rule book that will allow you to do it, well, it's unusual. Well, it's going to require this other thing, this standing filibuster that Jayapal wants to say is it's bad white people doing bad white people things. Oh, stop it. I have no time for this stuff. Just blanket blame.
Benefits them politically at the expense of Republicans. And they're going to do everything they can to create as many pull factors for illegal aliens into American communities as they possibly can. And one of those is having unsecure elections and giving illegal aliens potentially the availability to vote. And I think Democrats are making the bet that those illegal aliens are going to vote Democrat, and they know that even if they don't vote, those illegal aliens are going to be counted in our census, which tends to benefit sanctuary states and sanctuary cities and give them greater congressional representation. So I think that's the broader plan. It's a cynical political ploy to benefit politically from mass migration. And that, I think that's the core reason why Democrats are so opposed to this.
Now I want to turn to another.
Get it done. I can't yell it any louder than I have. Just get it done. Nick Shirley doing reporting in Cuba, and he's being followed by multiple Cuban spies.
For instance, look at it. She comes into frame right here, and then she hides behind the lamppost, and then all of a sudden she starts filming us, and then when she goes to the other side of the lamppost, she then begins to act like she's on a phone call. However, she continues to point her camera towards our direction. The guy I'm interviewing then notices that she's filming us. He goes and confronts her, and she runs to the other side of the street. She then turns the corner, and my security guard follows her to see where she goes. And who does she meet up with? She meets up with the man who was following us inside of the hotel. And after we had confirmed that we were being followed by Cuban intelligence and their spies were spying on us, we hurried back up to our hotel room and made a plan to escape Cuba.
She makes her way through the woods to him, and then he goes, no, like saying, don't sit here. Boom, sits there. So they're together, 100%. Come back to the hotel, buddy's there. They're 100% watching us.
On us. For instance, look at it. She comes into frame right here.
So yeah, Nick Shirley doing more work. Check out his Cuba info. Ortho says Republicans in Congress are spineless. Filibustering at the Dave and Busters in Philly. Filibustering at the Dave and Busters in Philly. Yeah, Cuba is done, it seems. Okay, what's the next phase? Something good for people? If it's something good, I want to be in favor of it. Ramin here put this out, and I found this pretty hilarious. I've had this thought for a while. We stopped saying it's Photoshop. And we started saying it's AI. End of an era. Photoshop, thanks for the memories. Dr. Evil pouring some out for his homies. Really, it used to be that's photoshopped. That's Photoshop. It's AI. We've sort of lost, the world we grew up in does not exist anymore. Pouring some out for my departed homies. Photoshop. YouTubers under 25 exposed the biggest visa fraud in U.S. history before the government did. Asmongold here.
The Biden administration, the fraud escalated even further. Today we are announcing that we have identified over 10,000 foreign students who claim to be working for highly suspect employers. And that's just among the top 25 OPT employers. This is only the tip of the iceberg. Over the past year, we've dramatically expanded our oversight of OPT and can report that we've found fraud nationwide. HSI agents have visited problematic OPT employer work sites in Virginia, Texas, Georgia, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, and Florida. Many of these employers include NGOs engaged in suspicious activity. We've discovered empty buildings and locked doors at addresses where hundreds of foreign students are allegedly employed. In many cases, multiple OPT employers claim to operate from the same address, but none actually lease the facility. We found small residential addresses listed.
Do you remember whenever I said that this problem is bigger than you could ever imagine? Wow. How about that?
As work sites for hundreds of foreign students, yet no employees were present. When someone...
Yep. Optional practical training student visa program. Locked empty buildings. There's so many phantom businesses and phantom payments and phantom industries. We've got to just, the whole country needs an enema. Fox News has this quote from Spencer Pratt regarding comparisons people are making between him and Mayor Kami Mamdani. Don't you know? He promised his voters the subway will be free. I'm promising my voters the metro buses and trains will be free from urine, feces, and stabbing attacks. What more do you want? I don't want to get into Republican Democrat shit. Just do the mayor stuff. Do the city stuff. Just do the things. Oh, the politics of it all is just awful. Can't stand it. Costanza. Can't stand you. Let's see. Big Winter. Michael Jackson accuser claims that he was essayed at the Neverland train station around 1988. But the station wasn't built until 1994. Now he says he refuses to watch MJ's new biopic. According to Nicholas Bertel here. Gotta mute it. I think there's a little clip.
Seeing the movie?
He's not going to see the movie.
I won't be watching that. Thank you for your time today, sir. Thank you.
So what does this say? Big Winter asks, do you believe, question of the day, do you believe that Michael Jackson was actually a creep? The claim is that this is why they hated Michael Jackson. In 85, he bought the Beatles catalog. I don't know if the timing is right. I know he bought the Beatles catalog. 93, he did a Palestine song. He did? What was the name of that song? It'd be great if we had the name of the song, if I could see if that's correct. Allegations followed. Then he calls out Sony in 01, 06 to 09 in a financial anti-Semitism backlash. Of course, that's sometimes part of what you're going to hear. Then a financial trap. Then he died before the comeback in 09. Then Sony gets full control of the catalog in 2016. They accused him of doing what they were actually doing, he claims. That's a bold claim. What say you? Do you agree or disagree? Michael Jackson was taken out by the Hollywood cabal. Agree or disagree with that? All right. Tell me in the comments. UFO disclosure is a satanic psyop to destroy Christianity, says Alex.
And we've seen this build up the last 5 years really intensely with all these clear disinformation agents coming into Congress, putting out rabbit trails that go nowhere, obscuring what's really happening, claiming that there's about to be this huge disclosure so they can focus people on their disinformation, and then going around basically with government-sponsored clergy response teams that in the past they set up to tell churches, turn in your guns during martial law, things like that. These are government-controlled pastors. Now they have these government-controlled pastors under an FBI program called InfraGard, and it's also connected to NASA and the CIA. It's all public. Going around saying, I'm a pastor that works for intelligence agencies, and the aliens are real, and you need to get ready to have your faith shaken, and about the Bible and Jesus, and they're using it to undermine really Christianity, saying they're defending it. So this is a larger psyop just to screw with everybody's brains and to just further shake confidence in society. That is 100% what's going on here. And they're also setting the precedent to do a false flag and claim it's aliens to create even more hysteria. So this is queuing up and preparing what is colloquially known, it's not an official document.
Disclosure?
But there are official documents. But for decades, it's been known as Blue Beam.
Oh, yeah, Project Blue Beam.
Meaning a fake alien invasion. And we've seen this build.
So keep your eyes peeled. Now, this was, you guys in the comment were saying, question of the day, no, not a creep, I hope. Apparently, Jackson might have been on Epstein Island to help liberate the trafficked kids. Question of the day, maybe so, maybe not. Yes, that is an ongoing refrain we have here on the TNAM Daily Show. By the way, hit the thumbs up button, hit like, hit subscribe, share this show with a friend. Keep your comments coming. And if you want to support the channel, Patreon, Rumble, YouTube, become a subscriber for like $5 or $10 a month at the minimum. And you can go more than that, please. But we appreciate those, as well as standalone tips on Rumble, rants, and super chats on YouTube. Marco Rubio was wearing the same thing as Nicolas Maduro. It's the Nike Tech outfit. that Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro wore when he was captured. He's on Air Force One out to China. Is he subtly sending a message that we can do this to China too if you don't play ball? Dina says Michael Jackson wanted to protect the kids. I know that's often what he said. Yeah, look at this. Maduro was wearing the Nike Tech outfit. Now Marco's wearing it. I don't know. What message was he sending? How would you interpret that? What message do you think Marco Rubio was sending? Do you think he was low-key, just sort of reminding China of Maduro? I don't know. Matt Walsh writes, scam texts and calls are totally out of control. They're getting very sophisticated. You might still be able to identify the scams right away, but it's not so easy for your grandma. It's going to get so much worse with AI. Now there's time for an extreme crackdown. Now is the time. Scammers should get the death penalty. We should be doing drone strikes on the scammer compounds in Asia and Africa. Treat it like a national security issue because obviously it is. They're trying to ruin lives. It looks better on Marco. Polo. Yeah, it does seem similar to what Saddam was wearing. Can someone look that up, what Saddam was wearing in his rabbit hole? What did they call it? A rat hole? Rubio in a cube? Rubik's Cube. Agree with Matt Walsh or disagree that scammers who try to ruin lives and bankrupt innocent people should get the death penalty? Tell me in the comments. Tim Burchett, bombshell about UFOs.
We were denied access to the skiff, and so to my knowledge, what's going to happen now is not only do we have the support of the chairman, but they're going to get a nice letter from Congress. And as you heard, Representative Ogle said, if we're denied, we're going to use the Holman Rule and we'll defund the position.
And I was told by leadership that it was blocked by the intelligence community, not the intelligence committee, but the intelligence community. And that is a very chilling effect. If someone can reach through the veil of government and pierce it to the point of we do not have access to something, you got to start asking yourself who the hell's in control. And I think it'd be wise for you all to start looking at some financial disclosures of some of those corporations, some of the people who do the stonewalling in this town. And that's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start talking to people. We're going to start naming names. I want you to think about this. Think about this, that something with the capabilities of traveling light years, not showing a heat signature, and the energy capabilities of that would put the Pentagon out of business. We wouldn't be fighting these worthless wars overseas over oil, and American boys and girls wouldn't be dying. It would put the war pigs out of business, and they'd have to go somewhere else, and I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
We were denied access to the skiff, and so...
All right. Being denied access to the skiff, there seems to be a shadow government that's thinking that the rest of the representatives are on a need-to-know basis and that they're in charge of determining that. This is not good, especially watching how they've allowed the dollar to lose 98% of its purchase power. That's not good. You're failing us. You're not protecting us. You're making life damn near impossible to live. If there was a shadow government and things were just rocking and rolling, peaceful and lucrative, very easy to earn a modest wage and cover all your expenses and have extra to tuck away for rainy days, help raise a family, help create a stable community with continuity. But that's not the case. Everything's falling apart. So every system is under the microscope right now. Jace Yarbrough wants to talk about why they hate America so much. I mean, the radical left, the deep state Democrats, the globalists, and the rhinos. They hate this country. Why?
I believe we're in a cold civil war with the left. They want to destroy us and our way of life. And if you're not behaving with that understanding in mind, then you don't know what time it is. I think fundamentally the right is oriented around the things that it loves and wants to conserve and wants to protect.
Mm-hmm.
The left, I think, can only be made sense of if you understand them to be fundamentally oriented around their hates. So, for example, the mayor of New York, Zohran Mamdani, right? Same guy can say, on one hand, I want to globalize the Intifada, which, you know, whatever that means, obviously, he's in support of a kind of radical Islamic ideology. At the same time, he can purport to be one of the biggest cheerleaders for and supporters of a kind of trans or ideology, right? How do these two things exist in the same person when they're so self-contradictory? And I would say it's because they both hate America and are tools that can be used to kill Americans and destroy our way of life. I believe.
You heard it. Do you agree or disagree? Scammers get hammers. They want us mindless slaves. They do. I'm not following this guy, but I should. I like that. That was obvious to me. New Jersey Democrat ex-mayoral candidate, according to Breitbart, says guilty to forging 1,000 voter registration applications. Leftists claim voter fraud is largely a myth. As usual, they lie. Former Democrat mayoral candidate in Plainfield, New Jersey, admitted to forging a huge amount of voter registration applications. 71-year-old Henry Lynn Ibazim, pled guilty in the case surrounding 2021 Democratic primary. Fox News reported Friday, noting what's the name? Where's the name? Henry Lynn? That's a guy? I don't know. Pled guilty, charged with one count of third-degree forgery. Dismissing remaining counts in the indictment to not prosecute the defendant for any other disclosed. So what's they're recommending that he serve probation. Well, you need to penalize these people. You need to penalize people that are trying to steal your country. They're called traitors. You don't let them off the hook. Come on, New Jersey, be better. Here's another good story. I like sharing good stories. This is from NBC Chicago. A woman pulls a stranger from Lake Michigan in a split-second decision.
Oh my goodness. Good to see you. Last Thursday along the lakefront, Guy Fuller was desperately waiting for help. His friend was in the water, fighting to stay afloat in Lake Michigan.
The heart says jump in, the mind says you can't do it. I still have flashbacks watching the near drowning.
Officers were already there, but there was no flotation device in sight. Seconds felt like hours as the woman struggled in the frigid water. That's when Fiona Cantorna came running by. Without thinking twice, she jumped in.
I saw that she was drowning and I knew that, okay, this is what you have to do to save this person. And I think that like my rational side kind of took over in a way. And I think it was that switch.
A former competitive swimmer and a one-time lifeguard. Fiona says instinct took over. Training kicked in. There was no time for second thoughts. She knew exactly what she had to do.
I just didn't
This is what America's about.
think. I think I honestly went on autopilot. There was a lot of adrenaline in that moment. And so it was cold, but I didn't necessarily feel it.
After pulling the woman to safety, Fiona warmed up in the back of a police car, then returned home to a hero's welcome.
Our hero!
For Guy, who's known the woman since she was a child, watching a stranger risk everything to save her restored his faith in people.
This was divine intervention, no question about it. And it just restores your faith in humanity. We hear so many bad stories. To hear a story like this really restores your faith in mankind. I'm just so thankful for Fiona, our hero.
Look, I can only find you good stories if they're in my feeds. But I try to bring you stories that are going to uplift you and give you hope. I don't want anyone to leave here hopeless. I want you to be inspired. All right, let's keep going. Oh, was that the last story in the stack? Oh, no, there's more. Liz Wheeler says 8 to 12 people die from hantavirus every year in the United States, compared to 350,000 people who die from medical error. But sure, let's freak out over hantavirus. Good gracious. Patrick Bet David talking about California.
Steve Hilton clip first.
Cool.
Go for
All
it.
right, so Gavin Newsom is taking $20 million of your money to send 100,000 babies 400 diapers. That works.
400 diapers? Not sure if this maths, but it sounds like it's a scam. Not surprising, Gavin Newsom's wife is involved.
Works out at 50 cents per diaper. We just came into Target to check out what you could buy it for in the store. Here you go, just check this one out here. $162, $26. That works out at 16 cents per diaper. Gavin Newsom's diaper
16 cents a diaper.
is 3 times more expensive. This
Gavin's are 3x.
Why is that?
And by the way, if you buy in bulk, you're supposed to get a bulk discount. You're not supposed to pay triple.
Costco.
Steve
Why is it
Hilton.
3 times more expensive for
Tell
Gavin
us.
Newsom to send diapers to 100,000 babies than just leaving the money in the bank accounts of the parents in the first place? Because
We wanna
he's
know.
going to some total bullshit non-profit, which the cronies of his are going to make money, and that is what is wrong with California. Instead of just cutting taxes so you can afford diapers and sending it out in this ridiculous bureaucratic scheme.
Why don't you play the Steve Hilton clip first?
Cool.
Go for
All
it.
right, so Gavin Newsom is
So keep your eyes on California. More spending, more questions.
The Democrats.
Anna Paulina, is this Anna Paulina Luna or is this no, this is that comedian. What's her name? I know her name, but I don't see it here and I can't remember it. Wexner? Alex Wexner? Alexia Wexner or something?
Democrats cause all the problems, but the Republicans will solve none of them.
Yeah.
Right?
but they can run on solving them. They can,
Yes,
that's the thing.
but I think that's why people are losing their minds right now online. And
Yeah.
like, everyone needs to realize this because the right, like you said, it's the dog catching up to the car and then it doesn't know how to drive the car.
No idea.
And the right, and especially the influencer space, does best when they're complaining, when they're giving you rage bait.
Yep.
Can't stand it. Circular firing squad. Oh, I wonder what Tim Pool and Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes are up to. What's going on with Tucker and Megyn Kelly? Can you believe they're beefing? Bro, I don't care about any of this shit. I care so little about Republican, right-wing, MAGA influencer infighting that you'd think I'm the person in charge of cleaning up LA. I care that little. It gets clicks. You get a couple people making millions off of it, and you go, well, that's the formula that works? That's really all we got? That's the only way to make this successful, lucrative?
They want to keep you addicted to being angry.
Yes. Just like on the left, a lot of the Republican MAGA influencers just want to keep you addicted to being angry. And it's often been said that Republicans don't know how to govern. Democrats are terrible, but they all stick together and they ram things through with every legislative trick that you can maneuver. Look at Obamacare. They used to say the Republicans are the party of no ideas and the Democrats are the party of bad ideas. There's a lot of truth in all these. My God, Republicans, get it together.
And not actually just getting anything done.
Now grievance is good for clicks.
Yeah.
Solution is bad. If it bleeds, it leads.
All right. Did you ever read this in the history books about the American Revolution, what it was really about?
American Revolution was against the billionaires of their time.
Tell me you know nothing about American history without telling me you know nothing about American history. The American Revolution was supported by the billionaires of the time. George Washington himself was extremely wealthy. He was one of the largest landowners in Virginia and was very much a part of the colony's elite planter class. And some of the wealthiest men in the 13 colonies were strong supporters of the revolution. Like John Hancock, the founding father with the big signature, he used his fortune as a shipping magnate to support the revolutionary cause. As did Charles Carroll, the last surviving signatory of the Declaration of Independence. He came from one of the great colonial dynasties and amassed a vast fortune in landholding and agriculture. Then there was Robert Morris, known as the financier of the Revolution. He amassed a huge net worth from merchant trade and finance, and he used his personal fortune and business reputation to secure loans for the financially beleaguered Continental Congress. Far from being a revolution against wealthy individuals, the colonists saw themselves as rebelling against the unjust imposition of taxes from a remote government. Taxes like the Stamp Act and the Townsend Acts were seen by the colonists as violating their rights as Englishmen and taxing them without their consent. It's why one of the most famous slogans of the revolutionaries was "No taxation without representation" and not tax the rich.
The American Revolution was against.
There you go. Set the record straight, people. TMZ tries to do a hit piece on Spencer Pratt, and then Spencer Pratt contacts TMZ directly. 7 minutes. I'm not going to play it all, but I will play an intro. They're not most of the left-wing media, like TMZ, who was cheering when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. They were cheering in their room about that. By the way, they lied about it, I believe. I think they claimed it was a car chase had resolved, and they were cheering it right at the time that they were announcing that Charlie Kirk had expired. There was no car chase on at that time. So TMZ is a hit piece rag, and they're trying to take Spencer Pratt out. It's
campaign ad certainly made it seem that you were living in that trailer. It was a high point of the commercial, but you're at the Hotel Bel Air. So kind of undo that for us.
No, to be clear, that is where, excuse me, that is where I live. That's where Karen Bass, Mayor Bass, burned down my house. That is where I will live until I have a new house. The Airstream is a temporary facility. A hotel is a temporary facility. Where my kids are in Santa Barbara right now is a temporary housing. This is where I live as this is where they burned my house down. So this semantics or the nuance of this is the consequences of their failed leadership. And again, I don't live at the Hotel Bel Air. I don't live in the Airstream. I don't live in the Santa Barbara. I don't have a house. They burned it down. That is why I got into this.
And they're just trying to get hung up on these weird details to make it seem like something and something. It's so stupid. A talented politician is going to redirect the question and deliver the message. I think he's doing it here.
Race because of these people that will burn your house down and act like it's no problem. So this idea that anyone's like, oh, he's at a hotel. I'm at a hotel because these psychopaths are messaging me every day. They're going to kill me because Nithya Raman is calling me a fascist because I don't want people to have their kids next to drug addicts at the park or stepping in human poop when you get your matcha. I have common sense. That's not fascism. So these psychos here, I'm a fascist. And then they literally, like, if you would like to see the death threats, I can send them all offline where people are like, I'm going to hire people to kill you. So yes, unfortunately, now I have a security team and they will not, even if I wanted to stay in the Airstream, would let me because there's 360 unobstructed views since there's no houses. So you can literally snipe me out from any part from 300 yards away easily.
Spencer,
one sec. Not to mention.
Good job. Let him fit. Good job. That was a good job. I'm just kind of studying the technique because he seems to be somewhat shockingly, remarkably talented at this politics thing. That was a good Heisman. Like, nope, you're not up. I'm going to push you off. You tried to redirect. Nope, I'm not done. I'm still finishing my point. That was good. Just technique wise, that was good.
The Airstream, it took over a month for LADWP to connect a wire for electricity to it, which was 3 days ago. It took weeks to get
that was a year and a half later.
The water hooked up, which was yesterday. So for these people that want to focus on where I sleep at night, first off, I don't even sleep. I get 4 hours of sleep because I'm fighting these corrupt freaking politicians all day long. You want to see my phone hours? I'll screenshot it. It probably says 19 hours.
I hear what you're saying, and on the symbolism of your ad that because of the fire that you don't have a home, and I get that. But there's something to the point where you say in the ad, this is where I live, while you're standing in front of a trailer.
Oh, for fuck's sake, shut up. He already answered you, and you're still going on about that. I'd say, I don't have time to be redundant. You heard what I said. End it there. They're trying to take him out. The slumped shoulders. Oh, I couldn't take him out today. I'll have to try again tomorrow. Dopes. Hodge twins say that RFK says on chemtrails, so if this quote is valid from the Hodge twins, it's a valid quote, I don't know. It's done, we think, regarding chemtrails by DARPA. The HHS secretary believes the Pentagon's research arm is spraying chemicals into the skies via jet fuel and has vowed to investigate and stop it. He's putting the full weight of his department behind looking into it. Please stop the spraying already. Can we get some love on that? Also send some love to the TNAM X feed. We're over here at American_media_. Yeah, you're right, Dino. Sort of a Trump move to kind of steamroll, and you know, I'm still. Excuse me. Excuse me. A lot of people say, they said, sir, why are they interrupting? Excuse me. That it's a really good shut it down. Excuse me. Followed by a brief pause and then the relaunch. It really works. TMZ, totally mad Zionist? No. We did look that up, though. We know what the TMZ means. How many of you remember what TMZ means? We looked it up on the show. Yeah, Spencer is doing what he has to do. And his life is under death threat now because the crazy Democrats. It's just, this whole party needs to be dismantled and defunded and scattered to the winds. They are so destructive. Pramila Jayapal talking about we can't uphold democracy till we eliminate Jim Crow legacy filibuster because 40 mostly white men. Paul responded to our post, this outright hatred and racism toward white Americans needs to stop badly. Agreed. Regarding Anna Paulina Luna having this conversation with, is that Katie Pavlich, yeah. It's become, Ultra MAGA said it's becoming increasingly apparent that there's absolutely zero accountability within the intel community, and that's troubling. All right, we sort of worked backwards through the stories today. So we'll label this under fan fiction. The last best hope of Earth, talking about the Tulsi Gabbard thing. This account says they don't want you to connect these dots. The CIA didn't raid Tulsi Gabbard's office to hide dusty 1970s MKUltra files or old JFK docs. They raided because she was hours away from releasing proof that MKUltra never stopped, it just went digital. The boxes they hauled out weren't archives. They were live target lists and modern control blueprints showing how the same program now runs through algorithmic social media feeds, mental health apps, 5G smart city infrastructure, behavioral wellness tech, most of us use daily. That's why it happened the exact second that Trump left for China. The deep state knows, well, but turns out it did not happen the exact second Trump left for China. The story came out, somebody leaked it, somebody tossed it out there, but they're saying it happened last year. But the deep state knows if the public sees their own names or their kids on those active subject profiles, the entire surveillance state collapses overnight. Tulsi has copies, multiple, air-gapped. This wasn't a cover-up of the past. This was the opening shot to protect the mind control grid that's already inside of our heads right now. The declassification wasn't history. It was a kill switch. So take that for what it is. That's the opinion of last best hope of Earth. All right. John Cornyn supports amnesty.
Tomorrow marks the 10th anniversary of the memorandum that created the DACA program. I've long advocated for a pathway for our DACA recipients. They came to the United States at an early age through no fault of their own, and they know no country other than the United States. Like Dalio Larios, who we were fortunate to have with us today. Tomorrow marks the 10th anniversary.
All right. Scott Pressler wants John Cornyn out. Ken Paxton in. Bill Paxton. All right. Kaylee McEnany. Is that who this is? Liberal media refuses to educate their viewers on how Democrats gained seats due to racial gerrymandering. The Supreme Court finally reversed that, and now the maps are going to be fair. Georgia just announced a special session. This is what I voted for, says Chicago One Ray. Here's the report.
Jesse. Well, Democrats bet big on changing the rules ahead of the election, and now they're mad they got caught. Last month, Democrats tried to redraw Virginia, wipe out Republican districts, and lock in power.
It was a 6-5 congressional district map, 6 Democrats, 5 Republicans under the map that with this vote has been approved. It would likely result in a 10-1 Democratic map out of the state of Virginia.
10-1 in a purple state, and Democrats thought they had won the war.
Last night was a big victory for the people of Virginia, a big victory for America, and a big victory for democracy.
We are here in a new day, and we have been asking the Democratic Party to stand up and fight, and now they did.
Credit to the Democrats last night. This is a testament of organization and passion. The enthusiasm is on their side. They have now beat the Republicans at their own game.
Well, what a night in Virginia.
No, it's a Democrat game.
When we fight fire with fire, we win. MAGA, dare I say, they're losing at their own game.
But not so fast. The Virginia Supreme Court stepped in and said that is illegal, killing Democrats' power grab before it could even stick. Of course, they're not walking away just yet. Democrats just rushed to the Supreme Court of the United States asking for a do-over. But if Virginia already shut them down, good luck with Alito, Thomas, and the Constitution-abiding justices. This is Democrats' 4th straight redistricting loss in days, and now it's spreading. More Democrat seats are on the line in Florida after Republicans pushed a map that could flip Orlando in South Florida. And Tennessee Republicans just redrew their map, too, putting a reliable Democrat seat in play. And in Alabama, everything's fair game now after the Supreme Court, this just happened, blew out a lower court decision. That blocked Republicans from drawing new maps. Now,
all right. I say do it then. Get it done. Peter St. Onge. What's he from? Ex-bartender, Austrian economics. Interesting take on the...
Democrats are hitting the panic button as Republicans redraw congressional districts to swing up to 19 seats for the midterms and up to 30 seats when the dust settles.
Do it.
Dem House Leader Jeffries calls it shocking. The New York Times says it's a disaster. For CNN's Abby Phillips, quote, "We are in the depths of hell." The reason is redistricting dramatically improves GOP odds of keeping the House in November.
By the way, TMZ stands for 30-mile zone. That's a 30-mile zone around Los Angeles where you have cameras and you capture the things that you can capture. 30-mile zone, TMZ.
Long term, it takes Republicans from winning the House a third of the time to winning the House most of the time. So for those following along at home, for the past 60 years, Democrats gleefully gerrymandered Republican voters into Democrat congressional seats, then cynically used the Civil Rights Act to block Republicans drawing their own districts. As a result, Blue New England has one Republican despite 40% of New Englanders voting for Trump, while the South has 24 Democrat seats despite a smaller share of the vote.
So that's not appropriate. If they're going to gerrymander, you gerrymander. If you're ruled unconstitutional to gerrymander, you don't have another election until that's resolved. Just figure it out and do it. That's the only answer. Indiana decided not to, and most of those people were kicked out in the primaries. Good. That's your warning. Defend this country or get the hell out of the way.
Now, nationwide, this gives Dems a 30-seat cheat going by red districts in Kamala states versus blue districts in Trump states. 30 seats would swing House control in 1 in 5 elections historically. Well, it means when Republicans do win, liberal rhinos set the agenda like that one seat in New England, Susan Collins. They are the swing vote. Now, voters hate gerrymandering. They see it as corrupt, with just 7% of voters saying it should be allowed. But both parties have to do it. You cannot bring a teacup when the other guy's got a knife. So the great gerrymander battle kicked off last year when Texas redrew their map to eliminate up to 5 Democrats. The reason was a letter from Trump's Department of Justice arguing that Texas's old districts were unconstitutional because they drew by race when the Constitution is colorblind.
In other words, Trump used the Voting Rights Act against Democrats, saying it didn't require Democrats racist gerrymanders, it bans them. Still, this broke a 65-year tradition of only redrawing after the 10-year census. As one Democrat strategist put it, it was a, quote, nuclear strike. Of course, Democrats sued, taking it all the way to the Supreme Court, who agreed with Trump, at which point the war went hot. Florida immediately redrew 4 seats. Ohio, Louisiana could redraw 2 each. 8 other southern states are trying to redraw, coming to between 17 and 19 seats for the upcoming midterms. Democrats tried tit for tat, but of course they're low on ammo, having already gerrymandered Republicans to near oblivion.
There you go. That part is super important. There's really not much else they can do to fight back because they're the ones that have been doing it. Yes, both sides do it to some degree, but what the Democrats have done is just egregious. The whole system the whole deck of cards needs shuffling. And it damn well better happen before the midterms.
Their big hope was Virginia drawing out 5 Republican seats using psychedelic squid-shaped districts reaching out from the deep blue swamp of Northern Virginia.
What did he say? Psychedelic squid shapes?
Already gerrymandered Republicans to near oblivion. Their big hope was Virginia drawing out 5 Republican seats using psychedelic squid-shaped districts reaching out from the deep blue swamp of Northern Virginia. But that was crushed by Virginia's Supreme Court as violating a previous referendum requiring nonpartisan districts, leaving Dems deep in the hole. So as next brought to you by The Bitcoin Way, things are looking good for...
All right, thanks for your report. Appreciate you, Peter. Spencer Pratt's walking around. Goes to a children's playground, and what do you find? Well, exactly what you'd expect from Mayor Karen Bass.
This is that's Karen Basura's park right here.
Basura means trash. He keeps calling her Karen Basura.
Look at this. And that's it.
And by the way, this is what the backyards of my condo complex looked like when I moved in. And you know what I did? We had our maintenance crew remove every piece from everywhere. We started working with our landscapers to get bulky items removed, and fine, bill us for it. Just get it the hell out of here. We're not letting it happen. 1 piece of trash is going to turn to 100 pieces of trash. We're not allowing it. Yeah, that's exactly what we did. You got to work cleaning it because we had some self-respect.
That's the encampment where all the fentanyl addicts and dealers just post up next to it. And then that's the park. That's where...
You know, take your kids to that park. Is it a park or someone's backyard?
Insane.
I mean, it looks like a park. Gotta come here with it. It is insane. You can't even drive to a campaign event in Karen Bass's LA without stumbling upon a cartel-run drug house at a playground. Scott Turner, Department of Housing and Urban Development. For years, American home buyers were up against large corporations, illegal aliens, and red tape, the last of which added over $100,000 to the price of a home. This crippled supply and raised cost. The Trump administration is slashing regulations and reserving homes for Americans. Good. HUD, under the leadership of President Trump, is upholding the law, stewarding taxpayer funds, and expanding the path to the American dream of home ownership. Full opening statement from Scott Turner. You know, having a reasonable conversation about housing. What does the Democrat have to say?
I'm gone if it's still record funded and record homelessness.
You know what? After you're gone, it's too late for the families that are suffering in New York today. Do you know what it's like to be a homeless little girl who has to have a Girl Scout troop just for other homeless little girls because that's all they have? That's the only consistency they have in their life. So I get you have a different vision.
It's happened in my family. Yes, ma'am, I do
I
understand.
need to know
I'm not
if your
talking to you
stuff
about
is
what
working.
I've heard. I'm talking to you about what I know. And what I do know, the Housing First model failed. Record funding and record homelessness. I don't care what administration it is. You would not run your own household budget this way.
I get
you
it.
would not run
You've been
your
in charge
business
for over a
this
year.
way.
I just want to see
You
results.
would not run your business this way. You would not have a business. So why is this okay for the American taxpayer? It's not okay.
Here's another question. Another question. Totally different.
I'm gone if it's still.
Yippity yap, 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 yap. Bongino busting down AOC's talking point.
On the liberal left, the dumbest people typically win. It's how you get stuck with people like AOC. But she said this the other day about this country and its founding and the billionaires with the talking points. And it is so disgusting, grotesque, and an inverted sense of reality. And if we don't correct it and your kids believe it, I'm sorry, this show's for nothing. Check this out.
In the heritage of our country. Look at Thomas Jefferson writing to Madison in revolt of British aristocracy. The American Revolution was against the billionaires of their time. That's actually the most American thing in the world, to be fighting for the working class. And it's actually patently un-American to try to aspire to transform our country into a place of kings.
Holy Moses, I get it. This woman has the IQ of your pet rock, but please, she is not irrelevant. I hate when people say that. Just like the black pillars and the doomers, they are not irrelevant. They are relevant for the wrong reasons. They have massive followings because dumb people believe this shit. Is she unaware of the Boston Tea Party? Is she unaware of what the Declaration of Independence was? The whole concept of men being created equal, unalienable rights. Did she miss that whole thing? The signers of the Declaration of Independence, many of them were very wealthy people who lost their freaking money fighting the revolution. You freaking idiot.
They mutually pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor, did they not? Yeah, they did. And we might have to lay it all on the line again. That's just the way it is. Publius says Rhino, Mississippi governor proves that he's a spineless, low-T coward. He canceled special session, delaying redistricting until 2027, handing Benny Thompson a free pass in the 2026 midterms instead of flipping Mississippi 2 red for a 4-0 GOP House sweep. Enough. Flood his office right now and demand immediate redistricting. It's an illegal district. It can't exist, so change it. Not complicated. There's an EBT freak out. I've got 6 kids. What do they expect me to do now? I've been living rent-free on benefits for 3 years. They can't just take away the lifestyle I'm used to. Is this a skit?
My kids gonna do? Like, that's crazy. Just, I looked at my thing. It says $60. What is that? I got about 6 kids.
I got about 6 kids? That's got to be a skit. I got about 6 kids. At Grok, is this a skit? I just don't believe these videos. But multiply this type of behavior across thousands of families, billions of dollars in fraud and waste. Says Matrix Mysteries. Edith Wood talked about the show yesterday about banning investment firms buying our single-family homes. Edith says they shouldn't be able to invest in houses because this would leave nothing left for an American citizen if they want to buy themselves a home. I bet they'd be glad to rent it to you for an outrageous amount per month, which is probably why they're investing in houses. Yep, you'll own nothing and love it. Chief Nerd put this out. Brookfield CEO Bruce Flatt will be rewiring the global economy. We're laying cloud, artificial intelligence factories, and data centers to basically rewire the world for a new economy that's coming. Ah, yes, says Peg, the new economy, where you own nothing because the one world government has taken it all away in taxes and fees. How fantastic. Don't you want to sign up for that hellscape? Nope. Me neither. No, I do not. Thank you very much. More Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt.
Talked about helping the homeless.
How many people who are unhoused that you meet have no teeth at all? They don't have teeth. Why? Because meth rots your teeth. You can't succeed without teeth. So there needs to be comprehensive health care provided to people.
Meth rots your teeth, so we need comprehensive health care because they knocked all their teeth out by doing meth. Karen Bass, everybody. Can we get some fresh ideas from this stuff, please? You don't just let somebody be a free-range meth chicken. You got to get them off the streets. You arrest them. You put them in a drying out facility. Ortho saying all this is such a disrespect to Americans. Nothing new for the Democrat Party. Hey, this king, what's he got to say? King Charles? Oh, this is fantastic.
My ministers will also proceed with the introduction of digital ID that will modernize how citizens interact with public services.
Bad idea. I don't like digital ID at all. Finder says, breaking. It's over for England. Well, great. And there you have it. These are the stories that I found today that I found relatively interesting, stunning, hilarious, inspiring, thought-provoking, newsworthy, mainly newsiness. I strive for, I don't know, I don't really have like a metric that I use. I work for me, so I don't have to like, well, 70% of your stories need to be a particular, I just think there was a good blend of stuff today. And I'm very curious to see how these Chinese talks are going to, how it's going to go, really. I'm very curious to see. Because if you can rearrange this constant anti-China, anti-Russia global boogeyman dynamic, maybe we could ratchet back a few things and we could work together on some things. And maybe everything doesn't have to be the way that it is, which is America losing over and over again. However you slice the cake, it's just the people that were put into power here, seemingly to a shockingly high percentage. I don't know what that percentage is, whether it's 5% or 95% or somewhere in between. Professional looters who are getting kickbacks and bribes and payoffs so that they can plunder the wealth of this nation, whether it's to send it to Somalia or to China or to Iran. Pick your place. You didn't mention Israel. You can mention Israel. You can mention every country on earth benefiting from America instead of America benefiting from America. Until we have a system in this country that makes it, something with reasonable living conditions without the rampant inflation caused by the Federal Reserve private banking cartel and the reckless spending of Congress that every time they quantize money by pressing a keystroke, it makes your money worth less. That's why you're spending $5 a gallon on gas, and that's not good for the midterms. So I'm really hopeful that this meeting with all these business leaders and Trump's like, hey, I'd like to sell in your country. It'll be good for both of us. But we got to stop this. We got to knock this shit off in Ukraine, Russia, Palestine, Israel, and Iran. Because the quicker this is done, the quicker homeostasis would arrive. Some sort of recalibration back to better. Back to better. Build back better. Someone was saying gas prices are so bad. The Democrats can't meme. The left can't meme. You've heard that all the time? Well, the left can't meme crowd, I guess there are places where they're taking Donald Trump stickers and they're pointing and says, I did that. Same like you had with Joe Biden. But if this works, and you got to consider, U.S. is selling more oil than you could imagine. UAE and others have said they're going to bypass the strait altogether, and they're going to pump it through another pipeline, and they're going to start they're leaving OPEC, Venezuela, Cuba. There's a lot right now that's being recalibrated. And so if Trump is able to get a better, cheaper energy supply, minus the terror tax that they throw on things in the Strait of Hormuz, maybe those gas prices are going to be coming down a lot. I think they need to. They should. I hope they do. It's kind of silly to imagine why they haven't. And it's silly that we aren't building more refineries. But midterm, hopefully short term, we might be able to flip this thing on its head and get things back on track. All right, everybody. That's what I had on tap for you today. Thank you, everybody in chat. You know who you are. We'll be back again tomorrow at noon, covering all of the stories in the news. I told you, this is the end of my shift. I'm going to slide this at you here. That's your tab for coming out and hanging in my bar for 2.5 hours today. You see on the top, you owe nothing. It's the show that I do. But there's a tip jar. There's a tip line there if you want to write anything in. You can support us as a monthly subscriber on Patreon, Rumble, and YouTube. It works. As little as like $5 or $10 a month, as much as 10 or $100 or $1,000 a month, whatever you want to do. Also, Rumble rant tips, super chat tips, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, all that scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So if you choose to leave a tip on that free tab, please do so. And please invite your friends. Saw some new faces in here today. Nice to always have that. Ortho's coming around. Dean is coming around. Who's our other gentleman? Hey, what's that? Spread the word about this show, and maybe TNAM can have guest appearances in the future. Let's make him bigger than Clyde Lewis. Yeah, I think if you scroll back far enough, maybe 2016, I met Clyde Lewis at Contact in the desert. We got a picture together. We had a good conversation. I've always meant to get him on the show. I don't really listen. I'll check out clips from time to time, but yeah. Who was the name of our new person, by the way? Who was that today? I'm just scrolling. I saw it in the chat, but Frank. Thank you, Frank. Yes, with the off-grid stuff. Yeah, thank you, Frank, for coming. Thank you all for hanging out. And we'll be back tomorrow. Signing out on behalf of everybody out there in the TNAM universe. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Deuces.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.